What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 236. Let's give it a round of applause. Now, I hope everybody had a good day. It is Monday, August 3rd, 2026, year of our Lord, and it's time to get to the greatest afternoon show in the world. Now, I missed Friday, but we are back. But like I said, this is the greatest afternoon show in the world. You ain't got to believe it, but I believe it. That's all that matters. Now, y'all, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. It is time to get into it. This is a show where we talk about a couple of topics every single day, Monday through Friday, starting around 6 o'clock, and just go over things that I found that we need to review together. Why? Because the world's a crazy place and we got to figure out some way to navigate it. Now, I'm never going to say I'm always right. I'm never going to say I understand everything, but I'm willing to talk about it and have a debate about it. And I'm willing to listen to your points. So if you ever disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment, leave a dislike. Let's talk about it. And let's get to the bottom of it and see how we truly feel. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. The first topic we got to get over into today is we have to go to Idaho. Why? Because there was a crazy mass gunman who ended up killing 3 people and injuring 7. Now, luckily, we had a armed citizen and a off-duty state trooper who intervened to help at least stop the killing. But of course, the killer took the coward's way out and ended his own life. But let's get over into a few news articles about it, news reports about it, and then, of course, we'll get over into the AI breakdown about it. Remember, if you disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment. Let's jump over into it and see what we can find out, y'all.
Now to the latest on a deadly shooting at an In-N-Out burger in southern Idaho. 2 people are being hailed as heroes for stepping in to stop the shooter. Police say a man with a rifle killed at least 3 people and wounded several others before an off-duty trooper and a civilian jumped into action. Lilia Luciano is here with more. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Kelly. Truly frightening scene. This In-N-Out location was new. It just opened about 1 week ago on July 24th. Before the tragedy unfolded, officials believe the shooter acted alone, and they're still investigating any possible motives.
Hey, yo! They running!
A terrifying scene in Twin Falls, Idaho, Saturday afternoon. A man identified by officials as 24-year-old Chad Williams opened fire in an In-N-Out restaurant before turning the gun on himself.
What's happening?
What happened?
What's happening?
Shoot, go, just go.
So far, all we have is a male, 20 to 30 years of age, wearing blue shirt, glasses, tan pants.
This video appears to show the gunman with a long gun right outside the In-N-Out. Another video seems to show him in a parking lot running after firing shots.
First responders faced what was described as one of the most chaotic instances a law enforcement officer can face in their career.
Now, let me say something before we get over into more details about it. But it seems like people are getting younger and younger, and school shootings, just mass shootings in general. What is causing these young people, 24 years old, to feel like he needs to shoot up an In-N-Out, a burger place? For some reason, I don't know if he had an agenda, no motive have been found yet. But what's causing this? Is it just we're seeing more coverage of it because we have the internet is booming like it never before, or is it just more people are getting radicalized, or somehow you want to put it? But the world is truly crazy, or it's just crazy people in it. Let's keep going though.
Duty state trooper and a civilian both fired at the shooter, according to police. This video appears to capture part of that gunfire exchange.
We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
Officials say 7 people were injured and at least 3 others were killed. Among them, an In-N-Out employee, according to the company's owner, who wrote in a statement, quote, "My heart is broken. We lost one of our beautiful associates."
I'm still processing everything, or trying to.
Michael Dudley says his dad, Terry, is recovering at the hospital after being shot in the back near his neck.
And what are you looking forward to?
Talking to him. And, when he comes home, just that's what I'm looking forward to.
And the father of one of the injured victims says his son, Austin James, is also recovering after he was shot trying to confront the gunman. He said his son heard the gunshots, told his wife and their friend to stay inside the restaurant, and heroically ran outside towards the sound of gunfire. He said the gunman shot James as he was rounding the corner, causing life-threatening injuries. Vlad.
Now, first things first, you know, I'm never going to, he sounds like he was trying to do the right thing. I wonder if he had a firearm on him. I hope he did, because if you're going to run at a gunman, hopefully you are armed and prepared. Because if you did that without a firearm, I don't know if I would call it more heroic or just not smart. I don't want to say idiotic, but let's get over into this next video and see what else it tells us.
He's the man seen in this video, returning fire as a gunman carried out a shooting rampage outside an In-N-Out restaurant in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Everybody's running.
35-year-old Jordan Salinas tells the Idaho Statesman he had just pulled into the parking lot when he heard gunfire. He says he drew his semi-automatic pistol and saw the suspect lift a rifle to his shoulder and fire toward cars. That's when Salinas began firing. Police say an off-duty policeman at the scene also returned fire.
These people are true heroes in our community, and their actions diverted the shooter and no doubt saved many lives.
Police say the shooter, identified as 24-year-old Chad Williams, killed 3 people and injured 7 others before taking his own life.
Call the police.
What's happening? What's happening?
What happened?
What's happening?
Lindsay Tangai heard the shots.
It was just mass chaos. The attention was everybody running from in and out.
She found several victims, including her friend Terry Dudley, a taxi driver who was shot in his car.
And so I walked over and Terry was in his front seat, still conscious at the moment, but not really able to communicate.
That In-N-Out opened just days ago, drawing massive crowds. The company says one of its employees is among the dead, saying the shooter took the precious lives of our associate and customers, innocent people who never saw it coming.
The world is full of too many tragedies.
Have not yet revealed a possible motive for the shooting.
There was just this crazy shooting that happened over the weekend. 3 people killed, 7 others injured at a recently opened In-N-Out restaurant. The footage from drivers in the area, I mean, show the gunman right there. And this was Twin Falls, Idaho. I mean, this is like a town of 56,000 people, so it's a small town. And now it's been revealed the 24-year-old suspect, Chad Williams, took his own life after taking fire from a bystander and an off-duty. That's one of the bystanders.
That's Jordan.
Right?
That's Jordan Salinas, who had his concealed carry weapon on him, who returned
had never
fire.
shot a gun. Had never like actually gone target shooting or anything like that, is what I was reading.
What?
He knew in that moment that he had to do something.
Yeah, which he acted, which is good to see. And investigators say they're confident the suspect acted alone, although they're still concerned that they don't really know exactly what the motivations are behind this and why this happened. But one employee was killed, a female employee that was part of In-N-Out. And this is really a very disturbing situation that we've been looking at.
Well, and that's
Now, this is a completely disturbing situation, like they said, but this is another reason why, if you are able to, and legally able to get a gun, legally able to carry it concealedly, you should do so. Exercise your rights, because you never know when a situation can turn deadly. It's as simple as that. We got the gist of this video, y'all. Let's get over into the AI breakdown just to see any more information that we can find. So, as we know, a mass shooting occurred at In-N-Out Burger in Twin Falls, Idaho on Saturday afternoon, August 1st. The attack left 3 people dead and 7 people wounded. The suspect, named Chad Williams, 24, he acted alone and died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound near the scene. The shooting took place around 2:30 p.m. The gunman, armed with an AR-styled rifle, opened fire inside a restaurant and into surrounding traffic. Officials' names of those killed have not been released yet. However, we know that one of the female employee was killed. One of the 7 injured was a 62-year-old taxi driver. As of Monday, 2 victims remain in critical condition. The casualty count likely was mitigated by the rapid response of armed citizens and an off-duty state trooper. So we know that the bystander named Jordan drew his own firearm and returned fire at the shooter. Law enforcement officials credited his actions with distracting the gunman and driving him away from a crowded restaurant. The police department and FBI are actively investigating while the suspect's family is fully cooperating. A clear motive has not yet been established. It's truly tragic to think about that someone would do this. But the world has become a truly crazy place. Can't even go to a burger spot now. You have to be prepared for a mass shooting to happen. And it's obviously he was going for a crowded location, which had just opened up a week ago. And he was expecting more crowds, which he found. And he took the lives of 3 people, injured 7, and traumatized countless. So tragic scene, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But we got to pivot over into something just as crazy, because we have a woman. Oh, this is crazy. We got a woman who has just been arrested. Where is it at? Oh. We got to pivot over into this woman. This woman, Nadia Roman. I might be saying the name wrong, but it doesn't matter. She was arrested for doing some of the most big back stuff. And I can say big back because I'm a big back. But the most big backest stuff you can do. That is pulling out an AR-15 rifle because the KFC drive-thru was taking too long. Yep, that is what we're talking about. Now we got a short video because there's not a lot of videos on this topic. And then, of course, we'll read more into it with the AI breakdown, y'all. Let's get over into it and see if we can find out. I mean, have I been mad that the drive-thru has taken a long time? Yes, I have. Would I ever pull a gun out? No, I wouldn't. But let's get over into it and see what we can find out, y'all.
New at 4, a Lexington woman has been arrested after an incident at KFC.
Nadia Roman was arrested yesterday for an incident that happened back in May. Her criminal complaint says on May 11th, officers responded to the KFC on Richmond Road around 6 p.m. A KFC employee said Roman was in the drive-thru line and became upset about how long her order was taking. The employee said Roman then parked her car and took an AR-15 style rifle and pointed it at them. Police were able to locate Roman through security cameras and searching for her license plate.
Now, if that isn't the most big back thing I've ever heard in my life. Not a pistol. She pulled an AR-15 styled rifle, pointed it at the gunman. I'm assuming demanded her food. She wanted that food fresh and hot, crispy. Demanded her food. And then ended up ultimately driving off away from it. Now, this is the type of person who deserves to be behind bars. Deserves to be behind bars. And she makes it a bad name for big backs everywhere. Now, like I said, I can say that because I'm a big back. But let's get over into the AI breakdown, y'all, and see if we can find out any more details, because there's not a lot of videos on this whole topic. So, as we know, we got a Lexington, Kentucky woman named Nadia Roman was arrested after allegedly pointing an AR-15 style rifle at a KFC employee during a dispute over a delayed drive-thru order. The incident took place on May 11th at the KFC located on Richmond Road in Lexington, where she became frustrated with how long her food was taking. Now, we've all been there. After the verbal altercation with the staff, she pulled out of the drive-thru lane and parked her vehicle. Maybe to go inside? No. According to the investigators, she then opened up her car trunk, retrieved the rifle, and pointed it at the restaurant worker in a threatening manner before driving away without her food. Following the investigation and then utilizing the restaurant's surveillance footage, police identified Roman and took her into custody on July 28th 2026. She has been charged with first-degree wanton endangerment, a Class D felony offense in Kentucky. What is wanting? What is that? I've never heard that word before. In Kentucky, wanton endangerment is a criminal charge used when someone recklessly behavior puts another person at risk of severe injury or death. It bridges the legal gap between a regular incident and an international premeditated assault. So let's see. Fully aware of the dangerous risk, but choosing to ignore it anyway. The behavior must be a gross deviation from how a reasonable person would act. Yeah. Pointing a loaded semi-automatic rifle at a fast food worker over a food delay fits this threshold. This action must create an immediate substantial danger of death or serious physical injury to another person. Because Nadia pointed a weapon but did not pull the trigger, her charge is handled as a standard Class D felony. A Class D felony carries a potential prison sentence of 1 to 5 years. It can be included in a court-ordered fines reaching up to $10,000. So under the 2024 amendment, if a suspect actually fires a gun during the offense, the charge automatically upgrades to a Class C felony, elevating to mandatory prison sentence of 5 to 10 years. Wow. Pointing a gun at a fast food worker because your food is taking too long. She gives a bad name to big backs everywhere. It's a crazy situation, y'all. But let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Now it says based on this charge, she'll probably get anywhere maximum of 5 years. Is that enough? Is 5 years enough for someone who is so deranged or in their minds that they would pull an AR at a worker because their food's taking too long? Is 5 years enough for that? Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a tragic situation, but this is the type of stuff we got to review. Now let's pivot over into our third topic we're going to be discussing today, and we got to go to around the world, where we had at least 83 people end up dying because they started to storm the border of the Spain and Morocco border. Yes, I said that right. 83 people, at least 83 people have died in a massive Spain and Morocco border crisis. And it seems that within a 24-hour period, 50 to 60,000 migrants ended up breaching the border. And because of that, like I said, 83 people, at least 83 people have died. So let's get over into this and see what we can find out, y'all. This is a crazy case. We got a few videos to look at. But let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Let's get over into it.
This is what you need to know now. A breakthrough in Gaza. President Trump touting what he says is a historic deal with.
New details about the 50,000 migrants who surged into the Spanish city of Ceuta on the North African coast. Authorities now say at least 72 of those migrants have died, some drowning, while others were killed in a stampede. Foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burge is tracking the story from Paris. Tom, great to see you. The scale of this crossing is becoming clearer. What are we learning about that, and also about how many of the migrants have been returned to Morocco?
Yes, Stephanie, it is I think, clear now that the vast majority of the migrants who crossed, more than 50,000 according to Spanish officials, on Thursday, have been returned to Morocco voluntarily or otherwise. Exactly how many remain in that small Spanish enclave surrounded by Morocco in North Africa isn't exactly clear, I think, at this point in time, but we have heard from the head of the regional government in Ceuta talking to a Spanish newspaper, and he said on Saturday that he believed there were about 5,000 migrants left in that small Spanish territory. I think it's clear that most of them are sleeping on the streets, in parks. They are being helped by some local residents, but I think, according to local officials, there was a lot of fear in that small Spanish enclave because the scale of this is completely unprecedented. The issue of people crossing, migrants crossing from Morocco into these small Spanish enclaves. There's one called Ceuta, where this incident happened on Thursday. There's another called Melilla. I've been there in the past and reported from there. This is not a new phenomenon. This has gone on for decades, but the scale of this, more than 50,000 people, is absolutely unprecedented. It caught everyone by surprise, and a huge amount of the migrants crossing this time appear to have been Moroccan, whereas when I covered the story about 10 years ago, it was more sub-Saharan migrants who were encamped in Morocco who on occasions would storm towards the border and try to cross. But even then, the Moroccan authorities and the Spanish authorities working together were always able to prevent something on this huge, huge scale, which really has rocked Spain, rocked Ceuta, and I think, to some extent sent shockwaves across Europe.
Now, the main thing I want to know is what caused this mass wave. Like they said before, they said that this is constantly happening. So there are constantly people crossing or breaching the border, just like, the United States, or not so much anymore. But what made the 50 to 60,000 is a crazy number to think about. All running at the border and breaching it in 24 hours? Was this like an organized event? Did someone get to plan this? And at least, as of right now, at least 80 people have died. It's a tragic situation. But let's keep going and see what else we can figure out.
Absolutely. And what led to the border surge in the first place? Have we seen anything like this before?
It's a great question. I think that's what everyone's sort of scratching their heads about now. How did this happen? How were tens of thousands of people able to get so close to that border? Then they were able to get into the sea and basically swim a very short distance across. Tragically, at least 72 people were killed. But if you think about it, 50,000, more than 50,000 crossed via that sea route in that short swim. And many were, in flippers, wetsuits. It appears this was highly coordinated. And now, according to the head of the regional government in Ceuta, in his interview with a Spanish newspaper, he has blamed the Moroccan authorities for kind of standing by. He says that they didn't orchestrate this mass influx of migrants, but he says that they allowed it to happen. Now, that is not the line of the Spanish government, the central government in Madrid. The Spanish Prime Minister on Friday, when he was in the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, he was blaming criminal gangs and saying they had taken advantage of and misinterpreted a court ruling in Spain last month, which basically said that anyone trying to swim across from Morocco into these Spanish enclaves in North Africa basically couldn't be repatriated back to Morocco immediately. And also the Moroccan authorities, quoted by Spanish news agencies, they have also pushed back on that idea. They have also blamed criminal gangs and said that Morocco's cooperation with the Spanish authorities remains very strong on migration issues.
Just a massive.
This is a crazy situation, unprecedented, like they said. But it's not just the United States that faces border issues and people wondering about illegal migration or illegal immigrants breaching the border. 50 to 60,000 at one time in 24 hours? I wonder how that compares to the numbers that people were talking about during the Biden administration. We might look at that at AI Breakdown. Let's get over into this next video and see what else it tells us.
After tens of thousands of migrants breached a Spanish enclave last week, look at this, a 1,600-foot containment fence going up in Spain. At least 67 people died rushing that border. CBS News international reporter Aidan Stretch joins us now. So Aidan, your reporting's just been dogged on this. What can you tell us about this fence?
Hi, Reed. So this fence is a 500-yard floating sea barrier, and the reason they're putting it up there is that this distance between the Morocco border and Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta is actually quite short at points. We spoke to migrants when we were there on Friday who said that at some points it was just a 10-meter swim to swim right around the border and reach Spanish territory. So the idea here is building this border, lengthening it out to deter future migrants from making that swim.
So where are these people now?
Well, most of them are back in Morocco. Spain's government says that 48,000 of the roughly 50,000 migrants who made the trip late last week have now returned home to Morocco or elsewhere in North Africa, many of them doing so voluntarily. We spoke to migrants on Friday when we were there who told us that they had come after seeing social media posts that made them believe that a recent Spanish Supreme Court ruling would allow them to receive asylum when they arrived in Spain. But when they arrived and found that not to be true, Spain's military and police made it clear that they had to go home. Once many of them realized that they wouldn't be welcome to move on to mainland Spain, they decided to go back over the border to Morocco.
All right, Aiden Stretch following this and other international.
Absolutely crazy. Now that we do have some more recent video about this, so let's get over into it. So this is just them on the beaches. Let's get over into the AI breakdown, y'all, just to see what else we can find out about this whole case. So, as we know, a total death toll at the Spain-Morocco border crisis has risen to at least 83 people. That's 72 people reported on the Spanish side and 11 people reported by the Moroccan authorities. See, the victims primarily drowned or were crushed in the stampede while attempting to cross. So an unprecedented 50 to 60,000 migrants breached the border of the tiny Spain enclave of Ceuta. I'm not good with my words. Over a 24-hour period. The Spanish Interior Ministry reports that the vast majority of the migrants had already returned or had been escorted back to Morocco. Spain deployed its armed forces and quickly installed a new 500-meter long sea containment barrier along the breakwater fence to block future swimming routes. So several critical developments and underlying causes regarding the deaths and aftermaths have been released. So we know that the death toll, rose to 72 after the civil guard recovered 5 more bodies. The local medical personnel have treated more than 1,000 injured migrants suffering from hypothermia, deep cuts from the border fence, and exhaustion since Thursday. Among those confirmed deaths on the Moroccan side is Fatin Ben, Omar El Aziz, a prominent professional soccer player for the Moroccan Athletic Tanger Club. Wow. So Moroccan and Spanish authorities state that the human trafficking network spread coordinated misinformation online, tricking tens of thousands of believing that the border was permanently open. In tandem to the rumors, a recent Spanish judicial ruling regarding immigration was widely misinterpreted by the immigrant network, causing mass and simultaneous rush to the sea to bypass the land blockade. While adult migrants have mostly been repatriated, While adult migrants have mostly been returned home, between 3,000 to 5,000 migrants remain trapped. The local adults and the youth reception center have completely collapsed under the pressure. Authorities are processing 862 unaccompanied minors because Spanish law grants minors strict legal protection against immediate deportation. Hundreds remain stranded in the enclave, deeply traumatized after witnessing family members drown during the crossing. Morocco's Interior Ministry denied responsibility for it, claiming that its forces were overwhelmed by the influx of nearly 40,000 people moving simultaneously. And then we got the local leadership publicly labeled the mass crossing as a facade, basically, by the Moroccan politicians. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro issued a sharp letter blaming European Union. See, they're just blaming people at this point. I did want to know, how does this compare to the large daily... I definitely spelled it wrong. So I did want to see how this compared to the daily crossings in the United States. Because, you know, comparing the surge to the historical mass crossing of the United States border. Let's see. So in the single day, we got the peak was around 12,000. So, so at least four times in a 24-hour period. 4 times more. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Who are they going to blame? It seems like they're pointing fingers at everyone, but the system is strained when so many people come in all at once, wanting to be helped, wanting to be provided for, needing assistance. It puts a tremendous strain on the system, and it just breaks. Obviously, the majority of them had to return home, and majority of them went home just willingly. But there's still a lot of people, more people there than they are able to take care of. And this is why border security is important. At least that's my thinking. But let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Now we're going to pivot over into our last topic we're going to be discussing today. And it's a tragic one. And we talked about this before. But we got to go over into a tragic case where we got to go to a tragic case where a tragic situation where is it at? Nope. We got to go to this little girl, 4-year-old. Sometimes it's hard to even think about. But we got to talk about this 4-year-old girl who ended up dying at the dentist's office. Why? Because her doctor did a lot of things wrong. Giving her too much medicine. Giving her the medicine not needed. And just in general, not doing what someone who's supposed to be a doctor should have done. And for some reason, the doctor's office, which reported to have so many problems, is still open, still taking patients. Yeah, the world's crazy, y'all. Let's get over into it and see what we can find out about this whole situation and see if we can learn anything else. Remember, if you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Let's get over into it.
Fox 4 News is asking the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners why a pediatric dental office was allowed to stay open for more than 3 months after a little girl's death. 2 parents who took their children to the same dentist in the days and months after the child's death want answers about how business could continue as usual. Fox 4's Lori Brown is live in Fort Worth with the story. Lori.
Gloria's Cuddle Kids dental care here in Fort Worth remains closed 2 weeks after Dr. Chriselle Hemphill was arrested and charged with reckless injury to a child. But for 15 weeks after the little girl's death, parents unknowingly brought countless children here to the dentist accused of making multiple egregious errors.
No one told me anything about what happened 5 days before I had my daughter in there for a procedure.
Heaven Pittman's daughter was getting a lip tie procedure called a frenectomy. It's the same procedure Dr. Chriselle Hemphill was performing on 4-year-old Aitana Arriaga when she suffered respiratory distress and died.
She was just so bubbly and happy, and to me that strikes me as a little weird.
Investigators later found Aitana had toxic levels of sedatives in her system and an inappropriate combination of medications, including one that's been discontinued. On top of that, investigators say the young girl's respiratory distress went unnoticed, and when it was noticed, improper life-saving practices were carried out.
If something like that happens, they should not be allowed to still be practicing.
2 months later, Pittman's sister, Cheyenne Mahana, took her 4-year-old daughter to Dr. Hemphill for the same lip tie procedure.
They were just acting like nothing happened.
At the time, Dr. Hemphill's license was still listed on the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners as active with no complaints.
It was shocking, terrifying, horrifying. We trusted this woman with our daughters.
Now, hold on. This just does not make sense. So a doctor does something wrong and leads to the death. Of course, you got to have an investigation, and that takes time. But why allow her to still practice? The allegations are so serious. A 4-year-old died because you did something wrong. How can you allow her to still practice? I don't understand that. That should be immediate. Nah, you got to stop until the investigation's finished. You cannot operate on anybody else until the investigation is finished. That just doesn't make sense to me. Let's keep going, though.
Turns out Dr. Hemphill still had an active license in Louisiana 6 days after she was arrested. They suspended her license the day I sent an email asking about it. Pittman and Mahana want to see changes. They hope Texas will require at a minimum that the Texas Board of Dental Examiners place a notice on a dentist's license if the dentist is under investigation after a death.
That could have been either one of our daughters.
We asked the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners how often it inspects dental offices, how dentists are caught if they are improperly disposing of leftover medication, if support staff can leave anonymous tips about problems, if there is a mandatory duty to report concerns by staff, and what the state's procedure is after a child's death.
Okay.
While the questions are not specific to Dr. Hemphill, the executive director told me he could not comment.
It's scary.
We're blessed that both of them ended up okay.
Dr. Hemphill is out on $10,000 bond. Her attorney told me that they intend to hold the government to its burden of proof as facts are tested in the courtroom.
Internal agency.
Yeah, we got to hold them to the burden of proof. I think that's a lot of proof if you asking me. But let's get over into the AI breakdown, y'all, just to see what else we can find out. So as we know, at Cuddles Kids Dental Care in Fort Worth, Texas, it ended up remaining open 15 weeks following, for 15 weeks following the April 1st, 2026 death of 4-year-old Athena Rodriguez. But it has now been closed following the dentist's arrest. Okay, so it has been closed. The facility continued treating pediatric patients because the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners allowed the owner, the doctor, to maintain an active license with no public complaints. She was arrested on July 15th, 2026, and charged with felony injury to a child. Her dental license was temporarily suspended the same day, forcing office to halt operations. So she was brought in for a routine tongue tie, which is crazy because remember that 5 days later, she did it again. So a routine tongue tie, lip tie procedure. Investigators found that Athena had toxic levels of Demerol in her system. The dose was nearly double the standard limit for an adult. Now, remember, this is a 4-year-old now. And would y'all not think that a doctor who operates on children would know how much of a drug a child is supposed to have. So Dr. Hempry combined the opioid with nitrous oxide and chloral hydrate, a discontinued sedative with no specific reverse agents. Search warrants revealed that the office regularly saved and reused leftover medication from syringes. The arrest affidavit states that the young girl's respiratory distress went unnoticed. When the staff finally realized that she was unresponsive, they performed improper life-saving techniques. So you first of all, you missed when she was first going into respiratory distress. And then you don't even do the proper way to save her life. Yeah, it should have been closed. So a sign was briefly posted on the door to the clinic suggesting it would soon reopen under a new dentist, sparking intense community backlash. However, Dr. Hemphrey's defense attorney confirmed that the practice will not reopen. So I did want to go into more details about the things that were all wrong in the office itself. So they were reusing leftover medications. The detective discovered several syringes containing varying amounts of medication syrups sitting in a cup. Dr. Hemphrey admitted that if a previous child did not consume their full dosage, the clinic saved the leftover medication to reuse on the next patient to avoid waste. Outside experts consulted by the police called this practice deeply appalling, unsanitary, and a severe dosing risk. So investigators found critical sedatives and emergency reverse drugs inside the same storage box. For example, we had clear sedative liquids and clear reversal drugs were unorganized, which dramatically increased the risk of a practitioner grabbing the wrong medication during a chaotic emergency. And then, as we know, that the 44-pound child was given an oral supplement of Demerol, 2 additional sedatives, and then her post-mortem toxicology showed that her morphine, I'm not even trying to say it, was, 3 times higher, 793 nanograms per milliliter. A normal therapeutic limit for an adult is 200 to 500. And then she also used that old sedative, which has been largely discontinued in modern practices. When the mother entered the recovery room, she found that Dr. Hemphrey's trying to revive the unresponsive 4-year-old by rubbing a popsicle on her child's lips while pink fluid drained from her nose. What in the world are we talking about? When staff finally attempted chemical resurrection, by administering the reversal drug, toxicology later proved there was no benzenes in the child's system. She failed to administer Narcan, which was the exact reversal agent needed for what she was going through, a lethal opioid overdose. The entire appointment was booked for a lip or tongue tie. However, the arrest warrants revealed that both the child's primary care physician and the ear and nose and throat specialist had evaluated the child shortly before the dental visit and explicitly documented that she did not have a tongue tie and did not need the surgery. This is a crazy situation, y'all. All it seems like to me is that, one, she shouldn't have a medical license in the first place. I mean, I think that's obvious to me. But to still practice up to 15 days after this child died and then do the same surgery, yeah, that's crazy. But it ultimately sounds like she was trying to save money in a lot of different ways. Saving medications, using the wrong things, and then just giving children surgeries that they're explicitly told they do not need. The world's a crazy place, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But luckily, she is being charged. But she's not going to get enough time that I think she deserves. But what are your thoughts, y'all? Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy situation. But this is why we got to review this type of stuff together. But that is it for the show today, y'all. We ended a little bit early, but we talked about a lot of crazy things. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But this is the type of stuff we got to review, y'all, because the world's a crazy place. Now, remember, these videos will be broken down, so you can go back and watch the one you want. But if you ever disagree with anything I say, y'all, please leave a comment, leave a dislike. And if you like this stuff and you want to support my channel, the best way to show your support, y'all, is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. But that's it for now, y'all. You already know I got to play that outro. Peace.